You've heard about the Great Flood, right? That ancient tale of a massive deluge sent to wash away the world's sins? But what if I told you there's more to this story, something so wild it could rewrite everything we thought we knew about our past? Buckle up, because we're about to uncover the truth behind the Great Flood and a mysterious, advanced civilization it might have erased forever. Let's get started. Over 200 cultures across the globe, Mesopotamians, Hindus, Greeks, Maya, even ancient Australians, tell eerily similar stories. A warning from a god, a chosen survivor, a massive boat, animals saved, and a new world born from the ashes of the old. Coincidence? I don't think so. When so many people, separated by oceans, there's evidence clues scattered across the earth that something incredible existed before the flood. From ancient ruins to strange geological scars, the planet itself seems to be whispering secrets of a lost world. So let's ask the big question. Did the Great Flood really happen? And if it did, what did it take from us? And centuries share the same tale. It feels like a memory, a haunting echo of something real. The flood that changed everything. For years, historians and scientists rolled their eyes at the idea. How could one man, Noah, warn the entire world about a coming disaster? And why didn't anyone listen? It sounded like a fairy tale until we started digging deeper. Picture this: a world swallowed by water. In Washington State, there's a place called the Channeled Scablands, and it's like something out of a sci-fi movie. Rivers that don't flow, valleys too deep for their streams, and ripples in solid rock the size of skyscrapers. This isn't the work of slow erosion. This is the aftermath of a cataclysm of floods so powerful, it carved the land like a knife through butter. Rain pouring from the skies for days, weeks even, until every inch of land is submerged. And said something crazy. This was caused by a massive flood, one that drowned entire regions in days. People laughed at him. A flood that big? Impossible. But 50 years later, satellite images and hard evidence proved he was right. The Scablands were carved by a deluge so violent, it could have erased entire cities in hours. Scientists call it the Mizila floods, caused by glacial dams bursting around 14,000 years ago. But what if this was just one piece of a bigger puzzle? What if the Scablands are a clue to the Great Flood that every culture remembers? It's the kind of story that feels like a legend, something you'd hear in a dusty old book or a Sunday sermon. The Bible tells us about Noah, a man chosen to build a massive ark to save his family. What if it wasn't just fields and villages that vanished, but an entire civilization, one with knowledge we can barely imagine? Across the globe, there are structures that don't fit the history books. They're too advanced, too precise, too old, and every animal from a flood sent to wipe out the wickedness of the world. For 40 days and 40 nights, the heavens unleashed their fury, and for 150 days after, the earth was a giant ocean. When the waters finally receded, Noah and his ark started a new chapter for humanity. But here's where it gets chilling. This isn't just a Bible story. It's not just one culture's myth. Was the flood more than a punishment? We've all heard the story. The flood was God's way of hitting the reset button on a corrupt world. But what if it wasn't just about wiping out evil? What if the flood destroyed something else, something extraordinary? Imagine a civilization so advanced, it makes our skyscrapers and smartphones look like child's play. A society with technology, knowledge, and cities that rivaled or even surpassed what we have today. And then, in one catastrophic moment, it was gone, buried under miles of water. This isn't just a wild theory. The earth remembers. Let's start with the flood itself. Could something so massive, so world-changing, actually have happened? The earth has a way of keeping records, like a diary written in stone and soil. In the 1920s, a geologist named J. Harlan Retz looked at the Scablands footprints of a forgotten world. If the flood was real, What else did it destroy? Take Göbekli Tepe in Turkey. This site is 11,600 years old, 7,000 years older than the Egyptian pyramids. Massive stone pillars, some weighing 20 tons, carved with precision and arranged in perfect circles. Both have massive stones, some over 800 tons laid with a precision that doesn't match the later, less advanced structures built on top. It is like the oldest parts of these sites were crafted by a culture we don't know, one that vanished long before history as we know it began. What if this lost civilization wasn't just advanced, it was legendary? In the 19th century, an archaeologist named Augustus Leplongeon proposed a wild idea. A mother civilization called Mu, older than the Mayans, older than the Egyptians. But what if the trace is right in front of us, hidden in plain sight? What if the flood didn't just destroy cities, it erased an entire way of life? What if the flood wiped out something completely different like intelligent dinosaurs? I know, it sounds insane, but hear me out. It had binocular vision, grasping hands, and signs of problem-solving skills. Paleontologist Dale Russell once suggested that if a cataclysm hadn't wiped them out, Truden could have evolved into a humanoid species one, capable of speech, culture, even technology. Researchers found what looked like submerged streets and foundations over 9,000 years old, centuries before the Indus Valley civilization. In Japan, the Yonaguni Monument has terraces and pillars cut at perfect right angles, too precise to be natural, some say. And in Dwarka, India, archaeologists uncovered walls and artifacts where legend says a city was swallowed by the sea. What if the flood, or something like it, erased their world? What if their cities are buried deep beneath the earth, waiting to be found? The Younger Dryas impact hypothesis suggests a comet hit Earth around 12,800 years ago, melting ice sheets and flooding coastlines in days. Could this be the Great Flood? And could these submerged ruins be the last traces of a civilization we've forgotten? He believed Mu was the cradle of human knowledge, a society that seeded the great cultures we know today. But there was no proof until a British writer named James Churchward came along. And here's the kicker. Many of these sites show signs of sudden destruction or abandonment, buried under layers of sediment that scream flood. But recent discoveries are turning that idea upside down. Take the Maiasaura, a herbivorous dinosaur that returned to the same nesting grounds every year. They lived in cooperative groups, with males guarding nests while the young foraged. That's not instinct, that's strategy, memory, maybe even community. Sounds like a stretch, right? But then you look at places like Easter Island, home to the Moai statues. These massive stone figures, some weighing over 80 tons, were carved with a precision that baffles modern engineers. The Rapa Nui people say their ancestors built them, passing down knowledge from an even older source. But who were these ancestors? And how did their knowledge survive a flood that supposedly wiped out everything? This wasn't built by simple farmers. This was the work of engineers, astronomers, maybe even architects who knew things were only starting to understand. Or how about Puma Punku in Bolivia? Stone blocks cut so perfectly they fit together like Lego, built by people who supposedly didn't even have the wheel. How is that possible? Then there's the Assyrian in Egypt and the Temple of Jupiter in Baalbek, Lebanon. The Mu civilization. Fact or fiction? Let's go deeper. Churchward claimed he saw ancient tablets in India, written by the Mu themselves, describing a vast continent with technology beyond anything humans had achieved. Skeptics say there's no hard evidence for Mu, that a civilization that advanced couldn't vanish without a trace. A civilization unlike any other now. Here's where things get really wild. What if this lost civilization wasn't human at all? For years, we've thought of dinosaurs as big, dumb beasts. Then there's the Truden, a small, bird-like dinosaur with a brain-to-body ratio like a mammal's. Secrets beneath the waves, the ocean might hold the key. Off the coast of India, in the Gulf of Cambay. These sites aren't just underwater, they're buried under thick layers of silt, the kind you'd expect from a sudden, catastrophic flood. Knowledge lost to time. The most haunting part isn't the ruins, it's the knowledge. Ancient texts and artifacts hint that pre-flood civilizations knew things we're only rediscovering now. Many ancient cultures talk about sky beings or survivors who taught them how to rebuild. What if the flood didn't just destroy cities? It erased entire fields of science, energy, and understanding. Was the Great Flood just a divine reset? Or did it wipe out a civilization so advanced we can't even imagine its heights? From the scars of the Scablands to the ruins of Göbekli Tepe, from submerged cities to whispers of intelligent dinosaurs, the evidence is there, begging us to look closer. We've been piecing the puzzle back together ever since, without even knowing what we're missing. The Sumerians, supposedly the first civilization, wrote about planets we didn't confirm until centuries later. In Egypt, carvings at Dendera look like modern light bulbs. The Antikythera mechanism, a 2,000-year-old Greek computer, might be based on even older designs. Drop your thoughts in the comments below. I'm dying to hear what you believe. If this story blew your mind, hit that like button and subscribe for more mysteries that'll keep you up at night. Until next time, keep your eyes open and your heart curious. The truth is out there, waiting for us to find it. What if these weren't new inventions, but fragments of a lost system? What do you think? This is where the story leaves us standing on the edge of a mystery. What do you think? Could there have been a world before ours, one the flood erased?